Linda calls 911 when black man changes his own Wi-Fi password. She had no idea what he found out. Intro. Jason had worked tirelessly to afford his dream home in a peaceful, well-maintained neighborhood. Growing up, he had faced many challenges, but through hard work and perseverance, he had finally achieved his goal of homeownership. He valued his privacy and enjoyed the serenity of his new surroundings. However, recently, something strange had been happening. His Wi-Fi had been unusually slow. At first, he thought it was just a minor issue with his service provider. But as the days passed, the problem persisted, prompting him to check his router settings. What he discovered shocked him. An unknown device had been leeching off his internet. Frustrated, he immediately changed the password, unknowingly setting off a chain of events that would expose far more than just stolen Wi-Fi. The confrontation. The next morning, as Jason was enjoying his coffee on his front porch, his neighbor, Linda Peterson, stormed over, her face twisted in anger. She was a middle-aged woman with perfectly styled hair, an air of entitlement, and a scowl that could curdle milk. Jason had always found her demeanor off-putting, but until now, she had never directly confronted him. "Did you change your Wi-Fi password?" she demanded, crossing her arms. Jason blinked, surprised. He had barely spoken to Linda since moving in, yet here she was, acting as if he owed her an explanation. "Yes, I did," he replied calmly. "Why?" Linda's face turned beet red. "Because my internet stopped working. I've been using your connection for months, and now I can't do anything online." Jason was stunned. She wasn't even trying to deny it. "You've been stealing my Wi-Fi?" he asked, raising an eyebrow. Linda scoffed. "Oh, please. It's just the internet. It's not like it costs you extra. You people always make a big deal out of nothing." Jason took a deep breath, trying to stay composed. "It's my Wi-Fi, and I pay for it. I don't owe you access." That was the last straw for Linda. Her face twisted into rage. "Oh, I see what this is about," she sneered. "You don't belong in this neighborhood, and now you're trying to cause trouble for real residents. I'm calling the police." Before Jason could even respond, she whipped out her phone and dialed 911. He watched in disbelief as she fabricated a story on the spot. "There's a suspicious man in my neighborhood," she said, faking panic. "He's trying to hack into people's homes. He's harassing me right now. I feel threatened." She smirked at Jason while speaking, thinking she had power over him. But Linda had no idea that this time, she had messed with the wrong person. The truth uncovered, Jason refused to panic. Instead, he walked back inside and pulled up his router's connection history. He had dabbled in IT during college, so he knew how to navigate network logs. The deeper he looked, the more disturbing the findings became. At first, it was just standard browsing activity. But then, he discovered visits to extremist websites filled with hate speech and calls for violence. Linda had been actively posting on these forums, spewing venom under anonymous usernames. But that wasn't even the worst part. There were also encrypted transactions linked to fraudulent activities, selling stolen goods, identity theft, and credit card fraud. And then he found something even more disturbing: a login attempt to an illegal website flagged for trafficking explicit material. Jason's stomach turned. This woman had been committing serious crimes while pretending to be a victim, and she had been using his internet to do it, likely thinking it would make her harder to trace. He quickly took screenshots, saving all the evidence onto a USB drive. Justice arrives. The sound of sirens cut through the quiet neighborhood. A police patrol car pulled up in Jason's driveway. Officers Bryant, a tall, composed black man, and Officer Reynolds, his stocky white partner, stepped out with unreadable expressions. Linda wasted no time. "Thank God you're here," she cried, rushing toward them. "That man," she pointed at Jason, "he's been hacking into my devices. He's stealing personal information from the whole neighborhood. I don't feel safe." Officer Bryant narrowed his eyes. "Ma'am, slow down. What exactly happened?" "I was just sitting in my home when my internet stopped working," Linda sniffled. "I realized he must have hacked my network. When I confronted him, he got aggressive and refused to fix it. I had to call you before he did something worse." Officer Reynolds turned to Jason. "Sir, what's your side of the story?" Jason sighed. This woman has been stealing my Wi-Fi for months. I changed my password, and she showed up demanding I give her access. When I refused, she lost it and called you." Officer Bryant's face remained neutral, but Reynolds let out a short chuckle. "Wait, she called the police because you changed your own Wi-Fi password?" Jason nodded. "And I can prove she's been using my internet." The officers exchanged a glance. Linda's story was already full of holes, and Jason was offering proof. "All right," Officer Bryant said. "Let's see what you've got." Linda's smirk faltered. She had assumed the police would be on her side. But things weren't going as planned. Jason plugged in his USB drive and pulled up the files. The officers leaned in as he revealed Linda's dark secrets, transactions linked to fraudulent websites, messages on extremist forums, and the illegal login attempt. Officer Reynolds let out a low whistle. "Wow." Linda turned pale. "That's not mine. He's making this up," she screeched. Jason turned to her. "Linda, your IP address is right here. You were using my connection, remember? That means everything you did online was logged under my network." Officer Bryant folded his arms. "So, let me get this straight. You've been using his Wi-Fi without permission, and now you're saying he somehow fabricated all this?" Linda opened and closed her mouth like a fish gasping for air. "It's a setup. He's dangerous." Jason smirked. "You called the cops on me thinking I'd get in trouble, but all you did was lead them straight to your crimes." Linda's desperation exploded into rage. She lunged at Jason, but Officer Reynolds caught her wrist, twisting her arm behind her back. "That's assault," he said coolly. Officer Bryant took out his radio. "Dispatch, we have a suspect in custody. Requesting backup for further investigation." Linda's cries meant nothing now. She had spent years weaponizing her privilege, but today, justice had the final say. The aftermath. By the next morning, Linda Peterson's name was plastered all over the news. The footage of her meltdown, her arrest, and her racist outburst went viral. She wasn't just a neighborhood menace anymore. She was a national disgrace. Lessons learned from the story. Justice and truth always prevail. Linda tried to manipulate the situation using her privilege, hoping to frame Jason as the wrongdoer. However, the truth always has a way of coming to light, and in the end, justice was served. This reminds us that no matter where we are, dishonest actions and abuse of power will always be exposed sooner or later. No one is above the law. Linda believed she could manipulate the system and get away with her actions, but in the end, she was the one who paid the price. This story teaches us that no one is exempt from the law, regardless of their status or privilege. Respect privacy and personal boundaries. Linda not only violated Jason's privacy by using his Wi-Fi without permission, but also tried to shift the blame when she was caught. This serves as a lesson about respecting others' personal space and not exploiting situations for one's own benefit. Patience and composure in the face of injustice. Instead of reacting emotionally or aggressively to the false accusations, Jason remained calm, collected the necessary evidence, and let the truth speak for itself. This is a powerful example of handling unfair situations with patience and logic. Meaningful message from the story. This story is more than just a funny incident about an unreasonable neighbor. It carries valuable lessons about ethics, justice, and human relationships. It teaches us that no one can hide the truth forever, and those who abuse power will eventually face consequences. Anyone can find themselves in an unfair situation, but how we respond determines the outcome. Personal perspective on the story. This story makes us reflect on social injustice and how some people attempt to use their privilege to oppress others. At the same time, it gives us hope that justice will always find a way to triumph. It serves as a powerful reminder that we should act with integrity, respect each other's rights, and never assume that we can deceive the world forever. If you enjoy meaningful stories and valuable life lessons like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Story Precious to stay updated with our latest videos. Let's spread positive messages and make the world a fairer place together.